Is a vehicle storage depot. Well, the Libyans say it's the base for a
And they're trying to like put Iran like that they knew about 9/11 before, like they had ties with Bin Laden. They're trying to put the enemy on Iran.
Listen, I don't know, because I'm not gathering that kind of intelligence. It could be very well that the man knew something about that, but let's look at the big picture here. I mean,
authorities say a series of tornadoes hit
it's almost like it's accusations, and they're gonna use this. I mean, I'm sure there's a small group of
officials in Missouri.
interconnected terrorists. I'm sure there's a small group interconnected terrorists that might know something, but most of the attackers came from Saudi Arabia. Why are we attacking that country? Because that country's not really enemy. That dictatorship is our friend.
Yeah,
Because they're actually the most powerful place in the Middle East. We want them to be our ally, of course. They make us money. Oil.
Get in Syria and fucking. That's what we want. The whole axis of evil and shit.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not a real axis of evil. It's the same. It's a propaganda tool. It's like in World War II, the axis of evil versus the Allies. It's a propaganda tool.
They're just making the other side.
This is what they do. Yeah, that's what the media does. That's what they want you to think. There's a good and bad. There's a left and a right. There's two sides. When truthfully, when we look at it as human beings, it's all one. It's one side.
Yeah. So
Across Europe, around
It's
500 flights were cancelled, so there's likely to be some.
To so well he put it. I want to word this correctly because I mean this is how things get skewed. There's always going to be good and bad people. There's going to be bad. There's always going to be terrorism because the definition of terrorism is any person or a group of people looking to do harm to someone else, whether it's for political reasons, social reasons. So when you look at the definition of terrorism, terrorism's been around from the beginning of time. As long as they threaten harm for a social movement or political movement, it's considered terrorism.
after 9/11, it became mass.
But that's when it became a label. It's like it's easier to label something that now to make it your enemy, the bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good way to to draw who your enemies are when you do that.
Still,
But it doesn't skew the perspective of things.
and now people like just cause like they're talking like about like the truth, they're labeled as a terrorist.
Okay, here's a good point to bring up. Let's bring up Pakistan. How once we got, Tim Osman, I'll call him by his CIA name. As soon as we got Tim Osman, or Waldo, I like to call him Waldo, we've been looking for him. Once we found Waldo, we sit there and go, wow, he was in Pakistan, wow. Well, what the media tells us and what they want us to think, Pakistan must have knew something, so they must not be helping us. Here's the truth is, they knew where he was, we knew where he was.
I mean,
We both knew where he was.
He's been dead for like
He's
10
been dead for
years.
years. You can sit there, we can speculate he's been dead for years. And we know the Benazir Bhutto tapes went out, which I think is pretty valid, but I mean, there's always going to be naysayers, super pro-Americans with the media gonna lie to you.
A million-page report on like documents found.
Let's look at it this way. Look what we're doing. We're calling Pakistan our enemy after they were supposed to be our ally. They were
got
sworn
nukes.
allies.
We're trying to get into the.
Well, that was our excuse for actually. That's gonna be our next excuse for invading. That was our threat in the first place. That Al Qaeda is gonna go into Pakistan and take over and get their nuclear weapons and everything like that, which is it's bullshit. Let's look at it this way. They've released whatever nukes they have. It goes 50 miles, blows up somewhere else. Because truthfully, I'm not sure how great their military capability to releasing a bomb.
They got China on the right.
But look what's happening now. We're doing this on purpose. We're gonna sit there and point fingers at Pakistan and China. See, look at a map.
One wrong move, China's gonna step in.
But the reason why they're doing this is they're afraid. We're knocking on their door. Look at the map. We're in Libya. We're in Egypt. Well, I don't know if we're quite in Egypt, but we're in Egypt. We're definitely in Israel. There's no doubt about that. We're definitely in Israel. There's no doubt about that. But now we're in Iraq. We're trying to get into Syria and Iran. Okay, let's not count them yet. But we're in Afghanistan. Now let's look at the map. Do you know how we pretty much are driving a pipeline from the Mediterranean Sea to China? This is what they're worried about.
We're trying to cut the energy source so China doesn't get.
Let's not even make it that far. Let's look at it as a risk game. Let's look at it as a game of risk, a board game. With your armies, we're driving a line from the Mediterranean Ocean to the sea to pretty much China. That's a threat to them. And what we're going to do is to paint them as enemies. I know China has the largest man army in the world, but I'm looking at strategically, unless they can really get men on our continent, there's no way China can win a war with us. We just got too much weapons. We have enough nukes to blow. We have enough nukes to blow this world like 300 times over. I don't even know what the real number is. But
when a helicopter went down in Pakistan, trying to taking the helicopter, but the Pakistanis gave it back to us. But they wanted to see the intelligence. That's how
Well, I mean, China's been for years. I mean, it's been an intelligence war. They've been trying to get out technology.
Yeah.
But.
And they sold.
They're not the real enemy. They're not the real enemy. They're being painted as it. What this is.
I mean, they really own us, like China.
Well, let's look at it this way. They own our debt. They don't really. They own our debt. This is why they're really getting pissed off. We're fucking them on the dollar. We're fucking them on the dollar.
I mean, they already dropped the dollar.
Well, this is what. Why do you think we're invading these countries and the oil prices of oil gonna go up? When when the truth is, in the splendors of war, things are supposed to go down. We're supposed to have these things, but it's not the case. Who gets the oil? Not the American people do. The corporations do. International corporations do, which sell oil to us. And let's look at the big picture short. By damaging the price of oil, you're damaging the dollar. And this is what China's mad about. They own our debt on our dollar, and we're damaging that. And this is what they're terrified at. We're able to scrap away. See, the best way to really save our nation is really too much oil to Federal Reserve and tax them in interest, the money that they own, to get a debt. But by doing that, it's going to destroy all the countries that we have a debt or owe debt to. The biggest, let's look at it this way. On a global scale, we owe probably South America money, the most money, because we go in there, we ravage, and we take the drugs. We take the wood, the drugs, and we pretty much do what we want there. We do what we want in South America. Same thing with the Europeans do with Africa, and it's disgusting. Look what we did to Chavez, just because he kicked Exxon out. He kicks a corporation out, all of a sudden he's America's enemy. Well, how does Exxon represent America? It's just one corporation out of many corporations that kind of have a grip hold on the world. We're a corporate oligarchy. Of course, we only have choice. The only choices we really do have is Democrat, Republican, which is not a choice, because they're pre-selected. Because no matter who you vote for, they're going to do what the corporation wants them to do anyway. That's why they're pre-selected. That's what they are. You can sit there, oh, but the government, the electoral college, this, and that, and the third. Yeah, but these people are chosen. The electoral college is chosen. Congress is chosen. Congress is supposed to only assemble twice a year, but they assemble like what, 5 times a day. I think they're doing too much work. Go home. I think Congress should go home. They've done enough. They've done enough, don't you think? I think they've done enough. Go home. Spend time with your kids. Once you take some of that money and that money you got on the table and do something with it, get out of our lives. Just do something else with it. That's what I